Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes. I'm the founder of Augusta Lawn Care. We have over 150 locations around the world. But today, we are out in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're gonna be meeting up with this guy, Tommy Mello from the Home Service Expert podcast.
I used to be Wayne Gretzky. I used to be Michael Jordan. Most of those guys don't know how to coach.
We showed up here as part of a turnaround show, but we did the podcast and we want to show you behind the scenes. Here we go. Good to see you, man. Not much. Good.
I'll be right back.
Dude, take your time.
Thank you, guys. Go ahead and get set up over it.
Cool. Alrighty. Nice spot. How's it going?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, I'm Mike.
Mike, nice to meet you.
You as well.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Dude, now that's a teleprompter, gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
You ready to rock?
Yes, sir.
How's business?
Good. We've been traveling Arizona for the first time in a while.
Yeah?
Yeah, we were over in, where were we yesterday?
We were in Cottonwood.
Cottonwood.
Cottonwood, yeah.
Other
north.
side. Yeah.
Prescott.
Yeah,
Prescott, Sedona. Oh, cool. How's the CRM business?
Hard. It was going good, and then we scaled really fast, and it just broke everything. So that was earlier this year.
Here's what you're going to learn that I learned is doing SaaS, home service, everything's a little different.
Yeah.
And I thought I could do it all. And then I just learned to hire people way smarter than me.
Yeah.
So you know what the hardest part is?
Attracting the all-stars.
So there's a good book. I don't have it up here, but it's Who Not How. But
Yeah.
it's not making any more decisions.
Right.
I say I want something done. They tell me how they're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not involved.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's the hardest thing in the world. I'm like, wait a minute. I used to be Wayne Gretzky. I used to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Most of those guys don't know how to coach.
Yeah.
The reason that they don't coach is they're so used to playing in the game.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of, I'll call it evolving,
Mm-hmm.
but it's impossible. I'm like, dude, I want to be back in the game. But I'm like, I hired people better, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
I mean, a specific thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we were able to get some guys from Active Campaign to come over.
yeah.
And
Active Campaign's amazing.
They've done good. Like, just the same thing. It's like I don't have any idea what to do at that level, and so they can just take it.
Take it.
So
Did you grab me a Celsius?
It's coming. I don't do it.
you have a gym on site here?
Yeah, I do next door.
Nice.
We're actually expanding it.
Cool.
I'm in a push-up contest. Next month is going to be a gambling push-up contest.
With the whole team?
You guys, just a few guys that want to.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a fun bet. I think I'm going to win a few $1,000 bucks.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to try to get to 10,000 push-ups in January. And I
Whoa.
noticed my form is so much better than everybody else's.
Are you gonna do like 300 a day, or are you gonna go for like 500 and take a day off?
There will be no days off, but on my days off, I'll probably do like 200. On the busy days, I'll do like 600.
Okay.
And then I want to coast into like the final days, not having to do a ton.
Yeah.
But I've been doing a lot. I did 440 yesterday, and like I've been changing up my form a lot.
Yeah.
With different muscles.
Yeah.
It's fun though.
Are you trying to shed? Like, are you trying to cut?
January.
Let's
I
go.
weighed this morning 252. I'm trying to get 250, 260, and
Okay.
then just.
Yeah, dude, you'd cut if you lost that.
Ninja.
Yeah,
Raise
dude.
your chair up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
I haven't heard that before. Yeah, I started carnivore like 6 weeks ago.
I didn't like it.
It was great. I already ate a lot of meat, so it wasn't like a huge
Are you
change.
still doing it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, dude, you'll cut. Assuming like you don't have anything with your gut, you'll cut really fast.
Yeah. I'm not straight. I like carbs.
Yeah.
My trainer's like, dude, your body, don't do intermittent fasting. Like, just keep carbon out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, 100%.
My breakfast had 100 grams of protein in it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Massive. What do you guys got? You ready?
Am I okay with
Yeah. All right, welcome back to the Home Service Expert. I got a special one for you guys today. Mike Andes is here. I've known Mike for a long time now. Spoke at your event, I don't know, 6 years ago now?
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
I think it's been 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Time flies. The funny thing is Mike's a badass when it comes to landscaping. And I had a landscaping company in Michigan and Arizona. And I love landscaping because there's a lot of money to be made in landscaping. It's kind of hard if you're just mowing lawns with a 22-inch Honda. But once you really master it, it's something that a lot of people could get into. And you had a lot of successful people at the event. But you're a busy man. You've got your own CRM. You've got Augusta Lawn Care. You've got Anytime Fitness. And you're the host of your own podcast called the Home Service Millionaire Podcast. How old are you these days?
29.
29.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. To get started and be as passionate as you were, when did you get into the business?
So I was 11 years old when I first started pushing the lawnmower around.
11 when you started pushing it, and then you started Augusta in 2014, is that right?
Yep, so I was 18 when I started. I dropped out of medical school because I went to college when I was 13. That's when I started. So I dropped out of medical school at 18 and started Augusta Lawn Care then. And then 5 years later is when we franchised.
100%. You're no longer in the landscaping business.
Yep.
You're in the turnkey business.
Yep.
And by the way, what I've noticed, and I've spoken to probably 20 different keynotes for franchises, and when I talk to the franchisor, they're like, those 4 companies, they're our bread and butter.
Yeah.
The other 60 or whatever it is, they're barely getting by.
Yeah.
Because they're not bought in, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. It would be very hard to get into my franchise.
Yeah.
I would not sell you a franchise. You know what McDonald's does? They make sure you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
You gotta go to-
Answering your phone is important. Well, we're going to answer your phones for you. We're going to run your payroll for you. We're going to run pay for performance for you. And then a matter of like what most recently we've really been going after is like we know from getting someone just from 0 to 500,000 is the biggest hurdle. If we do that, we have exactly 0 people have ever quit the franchise. So getting them to that level is like the activation point that we have to focus on. And so the number one thing from 0 to 500,000 is like sell. Sell, baby, sell.
Landscaping's a tough industry. What do you think was the key? And landscaping's really open. If you're talking about just cutting lawns versus, I know guys that charge $90,000 for landscaping. They just they deck it out. They do like they're arborists. They set up the trees and they do the bushes and the rocks and sometimes they even interact with the pool and whatnot. It's the curb appeal of the home. But what was that stepping point that you were like, this is more than just a career. This is actually going to be a massive, massive company.
Yeah, so it was at about 3 years in to starting Augusta Lawn Care. I was the classic working 80, 90 hours a week situation, didn't have systems and procedures. I got underneath the dump truck and was turning on the PTO of an old dump truck as a manual line had broken from inside the cab. PTO is a power takeoff, makes the thing spin, dumps the bed. My hoodie got caught in that. And so basically I was in the hospital for 2 weeks recovering from that and realized my business had no systems. And fortunate enough, I didn't have a family, I didn't have kids, I didn't have dependents, but if I would have gone bankrupt. And so I realized that the business was personality dependent and not system centric. And I was on the hospital bed with my phone, FaceTiming my crew to walk through the next project. And so from that time, 2 weeks later, I started Landscape Business Course and just started making videos online about like, hey, here's what I'm doing. This is what worked and this is what didn't work. And so from that's really why, to me, even when it comes to franchising, like, yes, the money is not the fastest way when it comes to franchising, but being able to see these owners that don't have systems in their business get the systems and then turn things around is like, that's all I care about. And so, to your point, there's landscapers that do $90,000 projects, but sometimes like I'm labeled as the guy who just tells you to do the simple services. When in reality, it's just I want you to be able to build a business that has systems and procedures. And for the vast majority of people, it's easier to create systems for simple and standard services instead of complex and custom services.
Yeah.
And so I'm speaking more to the masses when I speak about like systematization and like build a business. Like Build to Sell is a great book. I think about like build to leave.
John Warlow, yeah.
Right, build to leave that thing and let it run without you. And many times the systems built to do that is through simplification and standardization. I truly believe like the past, like if you look at the 2010s, a great home service business many times, the distinguishing factor is, do you have a great looking website and you answer your phone? If you did that, you are ahead of like 95%, 98% of home service business owners. And so I believe like in the 2020s, it'll be, the determining factor will be technology and software. And I think in 2030s is when robotics and AI will actually impact our industry the most. Because so much of our work is manual. And I believe that the software and parts of AI on the admin side will be really important in the next 5 years as we head to 2030. But as we go into 2030s, like it will be the robotics companies that will start to take over this very fragmented market.
I was talking to my C-suite today, and I go, I'm kind of worried about AI, not in a bad, dark way, but I'm like, I think it's going to be like whoever wins. And there's a strong possibility A1 will continue to be the largest because people come to me because of what we've done online and our Facebook groups and the way we've spoken at events. They come to me when they've got something.
Yeah.
And I'm the first one to research and implement.
Yeah.
And I do think there's not going to be a whole lot of winners. There's going to be a couple winners and a whole hell of a lot of losers, and you better join the winners quickly. I think they need us more than we need them because there's a lot of PE out there. There's a lot of money, but there's not a whole lot of people that know how to treat people that didn't have a mom. Like some of my coworkers, some of them didn't have the greatest upbringing, And I don't think white collar people are going to get into home service anytime soon, like to go do the work.
Yeah, no.
And that's why, a lot of my guys make 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay because no one else wants the jobs. Before they were a dime a dozen. Now, very few people are getting into the industry, so now you got to pay them more because there's not a lot of them out there.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a landscaper. I know it's hard to pay some landscapers 6 figures, but why put a cap on what they could make if they could outproduce anybody?
Yep.
The pay per performance side of it is don't limit it.
When I first started, I did it as a necessity. We were basically break even at best, a 7-figure company, but nonetheless break even at best. And it came as a result of one of my employees coming and asking for a raise because, of course, I did not have a system around how do you actually give raises to somebody. It was just simply a matter of like when I needed more people to stick around, I'd probably give out raises to keep people around. He asked for a raise. He probably deserved it. He was making less than other people inside the business. And I just walked away from that conversation knowing I did not have the money, could not give him the raise, and said, we're doing this. Because it's something that I think everyone wants to do. It's like, it makes total sense logically, but then you have 10 different reasons why it won't work for you.
Yep.
Everyone has that. And so in landscaping, it's like, well, if you go too fast, if they go too fast and they start making mistakes, then, now you're incentivizing them to start making mistakes. And so, okay, well then let's fix that. It's the yellow slip system. If they make the mistake, they have to go back and fix it. Also, it can come out of their bonus if they do damage cases. If they lose the customer, it can also come out of their bonus. Okay, well what happens if there's they got to sharpen the blades or they got to change the oil? Okay, well then we're gonna have non-billable time. Okay, let's bake that in. Okay, what happens if there's one person that's really skilled on the crew and the other people are less skilled? How are we gonna handle that? So there's all these little variables that people have as to why they can't switch to P4P. And many times that's what keeps them from going that direction, and they just switch back to hourly because it's honestly lazy.
So what would you say about that? Instead of divesting out of the business and picking up that nice house and having the nice vacation house and having 2 Mercedes and having a Harley and going to Sturgis and everything else, what if you just said, I'm going to build this business as fast as possible for 5 years, sell 70% of it, roll the 30, work there for another 3 or 4 years, I'm going to walk away with millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then I learned so much during the process, I could go start 5 of these businesses because now I got money to work with.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know says, oh, no, I'm going to do this for at least 10 more years. I'm like, okay, so you're going to miss your kids growing up. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
What do you think?
it's the instant gratification part. As soon as the first level of that success happens is usually when people take chips off the table. And so people aren't willing to hold their breath for the 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I really encourage, think of your career in 10-year swings. And if you think of that way and you're in your 20s, you have 5, 6 solid swings left in you.
Yep.
And if you actually committed yourself for 10 years, and let's just say it didn't work out, I happen to believe you would have learned so much more and gone so much deeper in that industry, your second swing would be that much more precise. When you look at Elon, for example, he owns 20% of Tesla. And you look at Bezos, he owns 9% of Amazon.
Yeah, 8.6, and then even Mark Zuckerberg owns 13% of Facebook.
Yeah, Jensen Yang of NVIDIA owns 4%, I think it is, of NVIDIA. And so it's like, do we think so small that we don't get the big person that's done it before? We don't give away stock options. We don't give away equity. We don't give these other people the opportunity. Because if you don't give them that opportunity, that 301 level, you will lose them. And that was the thing I had to learn. I made so many mistakes around this time and time again.
Equity, it's called an EIP, Equity Incentive Program. It could be called phantom shares. It could be called profit units. There's a lot of names. It could be called stock options if you go public.
Yep.
But every smart company on the planet knows this. But in home service and home improvement in the blue-collar industries, we're like, no, it's all mine. And we'd rather have the whole pie, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a small sliver and give these slivers away. And give away 30, 40% of the business.
So basically the turnaround show we do on YouTube. And then the problem with the YouTube channel is in order for me to go out, fly out, and do a turnaround show, they have to get a bunch of cameras in their face. And no one wants that when you're in your lowest moment. So we just left a company here, did 1.2 million in revenue, or is doing 1.2 million in revenue. We've been in business for 40 years. They have 22 employees. They're charging $40 to $45 per hour. And so the fact of the matter is it's extremely embarrassing to have cameras show up in your face and talk through the fact that you have a 3% margin business. And you have $170,000 in receivables from projects.
3% of 1.2 is 30 some odd million, 30 some odd thousand a year.
Yep, exactly. And that's on the bottom line. And they're not taking much out as owner distributions. And there's $170,000 in overdue invoices you haven't collected on. And so that's not fun to have me come out and have the world see what's going on in your business. And so what we did with the turnaround book is hey, here's the manual if you don't want to be embarrassed. because it is embarrassing. And so the number one most important chapter in that book is the first one, and it's just about cash. Because ultimately, if you run out of cash, the business will die. So many bad business models are hidden by an entrepreneur that's working 80 hours a week.
I worked at a couple of my buddies. I helped them start a Christmas light business. After the first year, I said, guys, I'm looking at this. We got to double prices.
Yeah.
They're like, you're kidding. I go, no. They're like, we can't do that. Did I tell you this story?
No.
We doubled the prices.
Yeah.
These assholes, good buddies of mine, finally listened to me. Double the prices.
Yeah.
Guess how many people canceled?
Less than 10%.
It was 40%.
Oh, really? But hey, you doubled prices, you doubled your profit.
120% collected. So if you were collecting $1 million, now you're collecting 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And you were only doing a little more than half the work.
Yeah.
So I said, guys, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I said, you got rid of the worst 40%.
Yeah.
And most of the people I tell to raise their price, I don't tell them to double it. I say, just add 20%.
Yeah.
Doubling is pretty sharp. If you're paying
Yeah.
$1,500 for lights, now you're paying $3,000.
Right.
Clients are like, dude, but 60% said you guys did a great job.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were giving a smoking deal anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the deal. So what do you do with somebody? How do you fix their? You said they've been doing this 40 years.
Yeah.
They're charging $40, $45 an hour. How do you? That's a mindset. They're broken.
It's tough because I don't like to go in there like the Gordon Ramsay and yell at people.
Yeah.
Although it's like, so how I approach it, honestly,
Bar rescue.
is well, John Taffer's coming to our event here in a couple weeks. I'm looking forward to that.
He's the best.
That's not my usual genre of dealing with it. But like my thought is I get mad at the problem for them because I know what it's like to be in that situation.
Yep.
And I remember the pain that I went through, and I hate to see someone in their 60s going through that pain because they have not dealt with the problems of the business. And they still are clouded with the mindset that I can't charge more, and everyone else is more expensive. And I'm like, wait, what's your close ratio? Almost 100% of my jobs get accepted. I said, I don't care about the cost of what you charge versus your competitor, or if a customer says it's too expensive. If you're closing 100% of your jobs, you are too cheap. The market is yelling at you to raise your prices.
Well, the deal is, I tell people, if you're into growth, don't ever fall below 10% profit. Don't ever fall. If you fall below 10%, and by the way, I've been at 10%, I've been at 20%, I've been at 30%. I think there's a happy medium when you're trying to take market share.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I tell the best story is when you're trying to gain muscle, it's very hard to get cut. Mm-hmm. You know, Arnold will tell you, listen, during the off season, I used to gain a lot of weight, and right before 3 months out, I'd cut.
Yeah.
And I think cutting means becoming extremely profitable. So planning on selling means I'm cutting 18 months in advance, going into that 12-month spurt, because that's what I get valued on as a multiple of EBITDA. What has been the largest challenge you faced as being a young entrepreneur in business?
I think if you're really young, sometimes it's easy to default to like the age thing.
Yep.
I think being young it's like, so when I went to college when I was 13, and everyone always asks like, was that weird? Was that strange, etc. Ultimately, because like the way my parents raised me and the way we never mentioned, like, it was never a thing. We never talked about me being young. In hindsight, a kid going through puberty in like college and university seems really strange. And so I do think it's like, who do you surround yourself with and what are they telling you? Because if they tell you it's weird that you're young and that it's strange that you're hiring people that are older than you, then you will believe that. But like, I was very privileged to have parents that like, we never talked about it.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm just going to school. I took the bus and I went to school. I couldn't drive, so I took the bus. And I think the same thing is true if you're in a circle of friends or even in your family, you might have to break away from them. And like I've said sometimes your goals will outgrow your friends. And in the event that you're a young entrepreneur needing to hire and interact with people that are older than you, you might have to break away from your friend group and your age group in order to chase the goals you have. Good stuff.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely.
Let's get a picture.
Let's do it.
Tommy, let's do that quick video that you did. I can
Okay,
the podcast
yeah.
and get closer.
Okay.
All right.
And go.
All right, I got Mike Andes here. He's probably one of the world's best landscapers. He's got a franchise, 160 locations. You're going to want to look out for this podcast. Mike, what are we going to talk about in this podcast?
We talked about franchising, but that was the much smaller part about really focusing on goals. What do you do as a young entrepreneur? I started college when I was 13. Tommy's built his business doing garage doors. What are you doing in landscaping or installing doors? You can make millions of dollars in home services. He's a testament to that. I've followed his stuff from a young age to copy and follow in his footsteps.
He wrote a book, and you're going to want to learn about cash is king, cash flow. And you're going to want to learn about, if you can make money in landscaping, really, I was a landscaper. I started when I was a kid. You can make money in anything. Mike understands the systems even a landscaper needs to just be able to kill it. And guess what? Charging $40 an hour is not the solution. We're going to talk about how to come up with an hourly rate that actually you're allowed to make money. More than 3%. You should be making 15, 20%. So you're not going to want to miss this podcast with Mike. Let's go.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank
Steve.
you. I just want to show you our training center. So we bought this building probably 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I just kind of built my dream training center here. So, got the barbecues over here, plus one over there. Try
Cool.
to cook for the guys as much as possible.
How many guys come out of this shop each day? Technicians
So,
wise?
training, there's anywhere from 20 to 50 guys a month.
Okay.
This dog, that's Tar. This all opens up. The reason I like a kitchen and a bathroom is maybe not for landscaping, but when you're talking to a client and the garage is 20 degrees or 120 degrees,
Yeah.
you want to say, is there somewhere I'm going to go over the process with you about how we do things? Is there somewhere we can sit down and discuss some options?
Yeah.
We give options. We always give options. We don't give ultimatums.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the training center. I mean, there's different scenarios, lots of things to talk about with the clients, gamification, having fun.
Yeah.
Talk about the Harley, talk about the motorbike, talk about the kids.
Yeah.
And
How long is that training process usually for a new tech?
30 and 30, and then they get what we call polished
Okay.
in the market.
Hey guys. Good.
Great. And this is Pinnacle Club. If you make Pinnacle, it's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
And then this is the training center we have in each market. Toolkits, these are $5 grand a piece. Every guy gets a brand new set of tools. After 3 years, they own them.
Cool.
We figured out a way. My CFO's a genius because he's able to add a couple $1 million of EBITDA
Yeah.
from giving it after 3 months to 3 years. I don't care when we give them away.
Yeah.
But by changing that policy, we're able to add a lot of money. And then
Yep.
here's the right words to use. Instead of contract, we say agreement. Instead of sign here, we say, okay, the paperwork.
Okay.
Instead of cancellation, right of rescission. Instead of cost, we say investment. There's a lot of good stuff there. This is in a book called, it's a blue book called something Influence. Not Robert Cialdini's Influence. Maximum Influence.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Read that book, Maximum Influence. It's one of the best sellers.
Okay.
And then read What Should We Do?
Yep.
You read that one?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So those two books combined.
Have you met him, the author of What Should We Do?
Yeah, Joe Casero, we trained with him.
Okay. Cool.
Paid him a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's the man. So Ashley said, she hasn't seen me all day. She's my, I got 2 EAs. She's freaking phenomenal.
That's
She's
good.
like next level.
That's awesome.
I paid her 180 grand a year.
Let's go.
But I needed to get somebody.
Yeah. That was Dan's issue too. He kind of burned through 3 or 4 of them, and then he finally.
Who's that?
Dan Martell,
Oh,
same
yeah,
thing.
Ann.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys,
Hey,
I appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
having me
you.
out.
Yeah, good to
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
You're doing great work, and
Yeah.
let's keep in touch, man.
Will
You're
do.
killing it.
Thanks, brother.
Proud of you.
Have a good dinner. Appreciate you.